Welcome back, guys, to another video. It's your boy Sam. Hope you all are doing great. Really mean that. Hope you all are doing great and coding and enjoying life. In today's video, we'll be creating our own Chrome browser. And this Chrome browser, we're going to customize it and make it fit our personal needs. So that's why we're doing this. It's going to be great. Instead of using Google Chrome, all you need to do is just actually get your Python and run it. Or you know what, you don't even need to go to PyCharm because I'll leave a card above for how you can convert your .py file to your exe file. So all you need to do is just click on the converted exe file and everything is going to work out. You'll have your Chrome browser ready for you and also ready to fit your own personal needs. So this way you'll be able to dump Google Chrome and actually use your own Chrome. I know what, I'm really excited for this, so let's get started, guys. Right now, you can see that we have all our libraries imported. We have import sys, we have PyQt5 for the Qt core and the Qt widget and also the Qt web engine. The Python sys module provides functions and variables which are used to manipulate different parts of the Python runtime environment. We'll be using PyQt5 because this is used for building our GUI for this app. So that's what we're using to build the GUI. We'll need to import Qt core, Qt widgets, and also Qt web engine widgets because we're building a web browser. That's why we'll need that too. For the Qt web engine widget, I'll leave down in the description the pip install a link to where you can install it properly, because if you don't install it properly you might get an error. But for that, yeah, I'll leave a link down in the description for that, and I'll also leave a link for PyQt5 and also sys. If for some reason it doesn't work out, I'll leave a card for my video where I convert a Py file to an exe file, and at the beginning of that video I explain how you can actually install pip in case you don't have pip installed in your PyCharm. Now let's continue the coding. Now the first thing we need to do is we need to create our class. And to create the class, we'll say class, and then we'll say main window. And inside there, it's going to take an input of Q main window. Now that we've done that, we need to now create our constructor. And why do we need a constructor? Python relies on the constructor to perform tasks such as initializing, assigning values to any instant variable that the object will need when it starts. So that's why we need to create it right here. And the way we create our constructor is we say def, which is short for define. That's the keyword for define. So we'll say def underscore init.self. And after we do that, we need to create a super connection with our parent class. And the way we create a super connection is we use the super keyword and then give it an input of our main window. We also say self, then dot init. And now that we've done that, what we need to do next is we need to actually set our browser. So we'll say self the browser is equal to Q web engine, Q web engine view. Now we need to actually give our browser a URL that when it starts, it goes to a certain URL. So we say self the browser dot set URL because we're setting the URL. And then we say Q URL, and then we give it the URL we want it to go to. In this case, it's HTTP. It's HTTP and then Google, of course, .com. What we need to do next is we'll just actually make it a central widget. So it's a self.set central widget, and the central widget will be the browser. Now let's actually make it that when we open it, it actually makes the browser to be the whole screen, so full screen. The way we do that, we just say self dot show maximized. Now, for us to actually see it, what we need to do next is we need to initialize the app and pass the system argument. And we initialize the app by doing app is equal to Q application, and then as its input, it takes the system dot argv. And after that, we need to set our app name. So the app name is going to be, you can set this to be whatever you want. So we say Q application dot set app application name, and my app name will be Sam Codes Chrome. You can call yours whatever. You can call it anti-Chrome. You can call it Chrome, updated Chrome. You can call it my Chrome, whatever you want. And now, after that, we need to set the window class that we created above. So we say window is equal to main window. And after that, we just call our app to execute. We say app.exec. Now if we run it, you can see that we get our browser and it actually goes to Chrome. So everything is working well now, but we want to customize it well so we can go forward, go backwards. We can have a button that when we click on it, it takes us straight to YouTube, like a shortcut button, and also have another button to refresh the page. So that's what we do next now. Now for our navigation, we'll say navbar is equal to Q toolbar. And then we'll say self dot add. So we're adding basically the navigation to navbar. Now that we've done that, let's do actually the backwards and the forwards button. So for us to create that, we'll say back underscore btn is equal to q action. And what is going to show on our button is just this. This is like an arrow pointing backwards. And then we'll say self. And then our back button, we need to set a trigger for it. So whenever it's clicked on, or it's triggered, whenever it's triggered, we actually connect it to our browser. So self.browser dot what? It goes backwards. So we say dot back. And after that we say we want to add this button to our navbar. So we say add action, and the action is back button. Now we can do the same thing, exact same thing for forward button. So I'm just gonna copy it and change some values. And here instead of back, it's going to be forward. Instead of the arrow looking like this, it's going to look the opposite way. And then here too is going to be forward. And right here too forward. Now if I run it, and now we click on Elon Musk, and after that we're like, oh, who's this guy? Really cool guy. He talks about Bitcoin. Oh, he has a company called Tesla. We'll click on Tesla too. Wow, this is a nice company. And then we say, you know what, I want to go back. We click on this, we get back, we get back. Oh, but I want to go forward. We click on the forward key. Oh, and the forward key doesn't work. What happened? We forgot to put here forward. So that's why you see that is important. If you don't put forward there, it's not going to work. So now let's click it again. And what we're going to search? Let's search Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson. So what's happening with her? Oh, she has a new movie. Okay, it's called Black Widow or what? We'll click on that too. And then we get here. You know what? I'm not interested in this anymore. So we click on our back button and it takes us back. And wow, we're back at where we started. But you know what? I want to go forward again. We click on the forward and we go back to everywhere we went to. So we can see the back and the forward buttons are working perfectly. Now let's add a refresh and a YouTube shortcut. Now for the YouTube short, it's basically almost the same thing too. So I can just copy this. It's the same template and we just change the values in there. So right now for this, we'll put refresh because it's a refresh button. And here we're going to say refresh. And here for the forward button, we'll put refresh with an R. And right here, instead of the forward, it's going to be the reload. And what's going to get reloaded is the refresh button. The action is refresh. So now that should work too. If we run it, so we say, who do we search this time? Let's actually search AI, artificial intelligence. And for some reason, want to refresh this page, you can see now it actually refreshes and reloads. So that's working out perfectly. The next part we need to do is we need to do our YouTube shortcut. And for the YouTube shortcut, what we need to do is we need to first define a function that actually takes us to or navigates us to the YouTube link. So the way we do that, we'll say define, and then we say navigate underscore YouTube. And then when you actually just write a curly bracket right here, PyCharm actually gives you the whole self. So that's really cool. And then we say self dot browser dot, we want to set a URL. I want that URL, it's a Q URL. And that URL is going to be going to YouTube. It's going to go to actually my YouTube channel. So I'm just going to really quickly get the link for that. Yeah, so I'm just going to paste the code right here, the link right here. So now we have our URL. Now it's time to actually create the whole button and the action for it. So I'll just copy this again and paste it right here. Instead of refresh, I'll say YouTube. So YouTube button, and here it's going to say YouTube. And then this is going to be also YouTube button. So just change everything from URL to YouTube. And right here, it's going to be self dot navigate YouTube, because that's where it's going to go to. That's what that button is for. And it's a button we created, so that's what we're calling the function right here. That's it right here. And for the add action, we put YouTube also. So now if we run it again, should be able to just click that button and you get sent straight to my YouTube channel. So when we click it, you can see you get to my YouTube channel. So that's the cool part. We have that done now, which is great. And you know what, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're growing every day. Really appreciate the support, guys. And you know what? Yeah, let's continue. So what we need to change again is I want you to click on this button, get back. The thing is, I want to be able to actually put a URL, because right now I can't put my own URL. Like say, oh, I want to go to www dot whatever. It only works for Google right here, but I want us to have a URL space right here. So that's what we're going to create next. Now for us to first do this, we need to create our URL bar. So say self dot URL underscore bar, and we set that equal to q line edit, and then we'll say nav bar dot add widget, and the widget we want to add is self dot URL bar. So now you can see that we have our URL bar and we can type stuff in, but it's not still. We need to add a function that actually makes sure that when you type a certain location, it takes you there. And the way we do that is we go right here and we say define navigate underscore to URL, and then we'll say URL is equal to self dot URL bar dot text, because we want to see the text there. And then we'll say self dot browser dot set URL, and then we'll say QURL, and it's going to be our URL inside there. So right now what we just need to do is we need to actually put a pressed on it. So when you click on it, so say self dot URL bar dot return pressed dot connect. Okay, and this shouldn't be there. Inside here we'll say self dot navigate to URL. So now our URL should be working well. So click on it. Yeah, this shouldn't be with the, it should be like this. So we'll click on it. Yeah, so you need to put HTTPS and then you put the URL. And then when we go back, the problem is that it's still showing Yahoo. So we need to change that when we move, the actual URL also changes. Because now we're on Google, but it's still showing Yahoo. So it needs to update. So that's what we're going to do next. And for us to do that, we'll need to create a function to actually make it update. So say define update underscore URL. And it's going to be self and Q is going to be self and R, and then we say self dot URL underscore bar dot set text, and then we'll say R dot to string. We'll say R dot to string. And now what we need to do right here is just set it actually and make sure that we'll say self dot browser dot URL change dot connect to the update. connect to self dot update URL. Yeah, so now should be able to, when we run it, and I will go to Yahoo Finance, or you know what, I go to Marvel. Yeah, so we're at Marvel right now, and when I click backwards, you see it updates back to Google. So yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please leave a like, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, comment down below if yours is working out. If it's not working out, comment down below too. And for sure, I'll try to help you out. And yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I'll see you all in the next video.